Okay, now, so even if Floyd was high, he should have been able to take his happy high ass to the precinct. He should have made it there. He shouldn't have been killed before he even had a chance to get to the precinct. So we have to fight for the right to be able to live. He's a martyr. He's a hero because he should not have been killed. And the only reason why he was killed was because of the color of his skin. Because they feel that black lives are indispensable. Like they're just dispensable. They can just kill a black person and there are no repercussions. Floyd was amazing. And so was his family, who didn't just roll over and take it and say, oh, you know what, maybe he was high, and maybe he wasn't, the best person, so you know what, it's okay. No. They want justice. They deserve justice. And they deserve for us to have their back. They don't deserve for everybody to just roll over and just take it because he was what, they're euthanizing people in the streets now? So if they were doing that, would you still be supportive of that? He wasn't the best kind of person. That doesn't give them a right to kill him. And I know you say, well, it doesn't give them the right. Well, guess what? No, it doesn't. But it also, we deserve to honor his life and his sacrifice. Especially for his family who didn't take the crap and started the movement. It moved us to want better. It moved us to want justice. To want to see that black lives. Now the whole world knows that black lives matter. This is a movement you can't take away from that movement. So nobody's asking you to join it. You can't take away from it. Because people see it. They see it all around the world. They have people in Sweden, London. They're marching. Marching for Floyd. Yeah, the lowly. You want to call him lowly. They're marching for him. He's not lowly anymore. He's an high angel in our book. So that's what happens. They pick him up from the bottom and bring him up to the top. That's what we're supposed to be doing in our community. But we got fools like you who don't want to help people out. And then guess what? Other fools like you will follow you and listen to what you're saying. You got to take a stand. Got to value your own life, your own skin, your own race. You've got to value yourself, your own people, all people, even Floyd. You got to value him, especially Floyd, because he's the same color as you, especially Floyd.
He is put into handcuffs and is put against the wall. A baggie of what looks to be like cocaine or it's white. It's a white baggie that he drops onto the floor.
No one mentioned that man had coke. No one mentioned. I didn't hear it. This must be new information to me. I got to tell my friend. I got to look into it. Okay? So before you post this, make sure I do the research because I have not heard anything about Floyd having cocaine that fell on the floor. Because what I saw was they sat him on the floor and then they picked him up and they brought him across the street. I didn't see anybody rough him up there on the scene because I'm sure if they seen that fall out of his pocket, that would have been all they would have wanted to get that party started. No, I didn't see anything fall on the floor in any video. So I don't know where you're getting from your information from.
Media is is refusing to circulate it. You can find it on Twitter if you use DuckDuckGo and look up George Floyd baggie. You can watch the clip yourself with your.
Is that a credible is that a credible source? DuckDuckGo. Is that a credible source? You know, there's Photoshop these days. People could have added graphics. Is that a legitimate source?
Had drugs on him at the time of his arrest. Now, barring all of that, nobody thinks that he should have died during this arrest, but what I find despicable to be is that everyone is pretending that this man lived a heroic lifestyle when he didn't, and I want to talk about what his lifestyle was leading up to this moment and why I refuse to accept the narrative that this person is a martyr or should be lifted up in the black community.
Regardless, okay, so first, you're saying despicable. I don't know what you didn't even use you didn't use despicable to describe the other three officers that nailed on two was kneeling, one was kneeling on Floyd's legs and the other was kneeling on his chest, then one was kneeling on his neck. You didn't use despicable to describe any of them, and then the other officer just stood by and just didn't say anything. You didn't use that as despicable. And then the officer that was standing up, he actually pushed the kid. You didn't use despicable to describe him, but then you're using despicable to describe Floyd, an innocent a man that was killed, not his life taken for a nonviolent crime, something that could have been a misdemeanor, and then he's going to die for a misdemeanor. You didn't call it despicable that he died for a misdemeanor, but you're calling it despicable that we're honoring him for dying and begging for his life. He died an honorable man because he didn't fight and curse them out, and he just said, "Mom." He didn't call them pigs. He didn't argue with them. He didn't put up. He wasn't disrespectful to them, even in his last breaths. I know I would have had a few choice words for them. If I knew I was on camera, I would put a hit out on him. He didn't do all that. He just gracefully bowed out of this life. He is an honorable man. So all that you're about to say about the pregnant woman and all of that stuff, I haven't heard any of that stuff. I don't know where you're getting your information from, lady. I have no idea. I mean, you said something about Twitter. I didn't hear anything about it. But I will tell you this. In that video, that man was peaceful, meek and mild and kind, and I think that's why they killed him, because he wasn't fighting and showing him that he was a thug. He wasn't acting like a thug in that video. He behaved as honorably as he could.
And that we should be buying t-shirts with his name on it, okay? So, here we have, first and foremost, let's start from the bottom of his record. And by the way, I am not saying that if you have a record, you don't deserve a second chance.
Oh, you want to talk about records? You want to talk about records because you want to sit up there and talk about records and go against your people and go against the fight for freedom and liberty. Are you going to bring up Derek's record? Bring up Derek's record. He had a record too. Shooting people, discharging his weapon. He had a record. Not to mention, he worked at the same club as Floyd. He could have had a vendetta against him. So let's not talk about records. We don't know what the record is yet for Derek. Release that. Why don't you, if you want to do something, you want to be meaningful and you want to make a difference, bring out Derek's record.
People get arrested, and some people can serve time in prison, and I believe in second chances, but I do draw the line when it comes to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth chances. 1998, he spent 10 months in prison for theft with a fire.
How many chances do I mean, how many chances do people get? White people get all the chances in the world, but when it comes to black people, you got to be the iron fist. You don't even get a velvet glove when you deal with black people. When people deal with black people, they don't get with 3 strikes you're out. White people get all the chances that they want. All the chances that they want. Chance after chance after chance after chance. When are we going to get a chance? When are we going to get a chance at really making it? Not just staying out of jail. Okay, you go in jail for a little bit and then you come out. That's not a chance. Give us a real shot at life. We need a real shot at life. We need our communities to be uplifted. We need our youth to be uplifted. We need our own businesses. Every other neighborhood has their own businesses. We go to a black neighborhood, we have Spanish stores. When you go to a black neighborhood, we got Arab stores. We don't have black stores in our neighborhood. We don't have anything. We got white stores in our neighborhood. Everything but black. We're the black stores. We don't have a chance like many people do. So chance after chance after chance, only chance they're giving him is in and out of jail. They're not giving him a fair chance at life.
That was the first prison stint that I could find on him. In 2002, he spent...
Sorry about the Spanish store thing, but we just don't have any stores. You understand? Okay.
8 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2004, just 2 years later, he spent another 10 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2005, he spent another 10 months in prison for having less than 1 gram of cocaine on him again. In 2007, and this was the biggest instant that I had that made me realize this was a horrible human being that I am not going to pretend was a good person. In 2005, a woman who was pregnant received a knock at the door, and she went to the door, and the person pretended to be someone that worked for the water department. So she opened her door and quickly realized that the person at her door did not work for the water department and attempted to slam it. At the moment that she was attempting to slam it, a Ford pulled up and another 5 men jumped out of the car, and one of which was George Floyd, came up to the door and they forced their way inside to her home, inside of her home. Mind you, this woman is pregnant. At that point, George Floyd took out a gun and pressed it to her stomach, and she was screaming, begging for her life, and he put her inside of her living room and instructed one of his criminal friends that was with him to watch her and to make sure she didn't leave the living room. So he was playing guard while they ransacked her home looking for drugs and money. They did not find drugs. They ended up taking, I believe, her wallet and her cell phone. Fortunately for her, her neighbor observed what was going on and caught the license plate of the people as they pulled off and called 911. And when 911 was able to, they were able to track down the car, of which George Floyd was the driver, and they arrested him. And 2 years later, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for that instance. Now, you can say the media is portraying it like he was just getting his life together after, being released in 2014 following that incident. He was just getting his life together and moved and was going to start afresh. I'd like to believe all of those things, and there's a gap, and he never got in trouble for 5 years until this incident when the police were called on him again. But you are defying common sense to believe that this person suddenly became an exemplary character but happened to be high on fentanyl and methamphetamine and trying to use a bill.
Okay, so now you're making assumptions. The thing is, he did his time. He did his time for the crime. If it's even true, because I've never even heard of this story, but wonderful job telling it, because I've never even heard this story. But the thing is, he went to jail for 5 years. Then he came out and he never got in trouble again. I mean, it's clear, the video. The point is not what he did before, because we're just talking about the altercation, because that altercation could have been anybody. That altercation could have been Breonna Taylor, who actually worked as a FDNY paramedic. Her house was, they just ran in her house. And they shot her while she was in the bed. We're talking about excessive force. Just because you're a police officer doesn't make you judge and jury. The judge already tried that case. He already did his time. That wasn't up to Derek to do. The problem came in is when Derek comes and he takes this man's life, especially if he's been doing good for 5 years. I mean, well, however long you said that he was in jail for 5 years and then he came out and he didn't do anything since, especially if he was getting his life together. Derek had no right to just interrupt that. I mean, then you're saying he's high on drugs. I don't know where you get all this information from. I'm going to have to look into that. The bottom line is, during that altercation, that officer should not have felt that he was judge and jury to just euthanize him like that. Because that's what I saw. I saw an execution. I saw that he euthanized Lloyd. And he did not deserve to die like that. He was on his way home. He was in the car on his way home, hopefully. I mean, but he shouldn't have to die in the street like that. He doesn't deserve it. I don't care how low he is. And if we continue to make excuses for them and to say, oh, it's the lowest of the low, next thing you know, they'll be killing homeless people. They'll be having concentration camps. And then once they kill all of them, they'll just keep going up until, what if they say all black people are low one day? You just don't, because if it starts here and we let them get away with this, it's just going to get out of control, where now they get to decide who lives and dies. It's just not right. No matter how you slice it, it's not right. And Floyd, no matter what, he left a legacy of exactly that no matter how low a human being is, you can't just take it upon yourself and euthanize them. If you're a police officer, you can't do that. That's not the law. Next thing, they'll be coming to the hood, and then they'll be just killing people because they can't. Oh, that's a crackhead. That's a drug addict. You don't just kill drug addicts. They have problems. They need help. Offer them help. You want to be, you want to be a politician, or you want to make a difference. Make a difference by instituting programs to help these people. Help them. Jail is not help. Jail is not help.
A fake bill to purchase something. And so, in my opinion, George Floyd was a criminal. He was a criminal. And just because he was a criminal doesn't mean he deserved to die at the knee of a police officer. But it does mean that I am not going to play a part of the broken black culture that always wants to martyr criminals, who wants to pretend they were these upstanding human beings that just wanted to help society, that just wanted to reach out and uplift society. And
You're saying, I don't get that. I would have to look that one up too, because I don't know. You're saying that he wanted to uplift society. I don't know if we were saying that. We were just saying he didn't deserve to be executed in the street. That's all I was saying. I didn't care personally what his background was. All I know is in that moment, he should not have been killed by an officer who already, if he wants to be judge and jury, he shouldn't have had 17 other complaints. He had 17 other complaints. The other officers that was standing up, he had 6 other complaints. Derek had 3 shootings, 1 fatal. Like, cop is supposed to be a community thing. It's supposed to take care of help your community. And I don't see where that was, helping the community. Like, if you used to work with this gentleman and you knew he had a problem, you talk to him and you tell him, hey man, you need some help. Maybe you should go to rehab. I see you got a drug problem. If he was his color, maybe he would have did that. But he wasn't. He was black. I know one of those guys that Derek shot. The other guys, he was black. So I don't know. I would have to look it up and see who are those complaints coming from, and who are the 3 people he shot, and who's the one that he killed, and are all of them black? And if they are, then that's a race issue.
He has a rap sheet that is long, that is dangerous. He was an example of a violent criminal his entire life. Okay, up until the very last moment. Now, again, I want to be clear. This is not a defense for Derek Chauvin. No one that I have spoken to, no one in the news is defending Derek Chauvin. He is getting what he has coming to him. Okay, great. But why are we pretending that this criminal should be upheld as a citizen, as a martyr in Black America? A martyr for a fake narrative, by the way. Police brutality, racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Okay, so let's get into that. Not only are we using this death, right, and allowing it to cause these...
Okay, so now you're really being disrespectful to all the people that have lost their lives. There's so many innocent people that have lost their lives by the hands of police officers for no other reason that they were black. No other reason. People are dying. They're saying that police killings are now one of the leading causes of black people dying, black men dying. I mean, just look them up. You got even Breonna Taylor. She was a female. She was killed. Now Trayvon Martin, he wasn't even a real cop, and he was killed. He stopped him. Sean Bell, it was his bachelor party. He didn't even get to get married. He was killed. A gentleman over here in the next apartment building, he was killed at the hands of police. They were just running down the stairs, and then they just shot him. He was on his way to pick up his son from school. The officer got scared and shot him. Oh, he was running down the stairs. He was running down the stairs to pick up his son. We got to stop it with, yes, we should be marching. We should be standing up for Floyd, even our lowest. Because if we can't stand, you're only strong as your weakest link. So if you can't stand up for your lowest, you can't stand up for anybody. You can't help anybody. Because I'm telling you, they're going to be starting with him. And if they get away with that, they're going to kill more people. They killed a paramedic. She was a paramedic. It's about a whole movement. It wasn't only about Floyd. This whole thing was not just about Floyd. It's about, when I went to the protest, it was a whole board of people a full cardboard of people written on there, all hashtags, of all the martyrs that have died. It's about all of our people that have died. And it took Floyd for us to get justice. And we still haven't seen it yet. We would love for a prosecution, because once there's a conviction, then we'll know that he is definitely a hero. Because this is the straw that broke the camel's back. And I find it when he does wind up being a hero, I find it that it's going to be a tribute to Mother Teresa, who stood up for the low of the low, the poorest of the poor. It's going to be a tribute to her, where it's going to be so ironic that God is going to prove that, yes, even in your lowest people, we can see justice. They're going to make a difference. He's going to make a difference. His life will have meant something, because he didn't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance. He lost his job during COVID. He worked as a bouncer for a restaurant. He lost his job for COVID. He was an aspiring artist from what I saw. How about you bring that up? How hard it is to be a musician. A lot of musicians are on drugs. They're on drugs even when they have money. Their marriages encourage them to do drugs. Like Michael Jackson. He had all the drugs he wanted. To me, it's about just setting standards that no, you can't kill our Lois. That shows how strong a people we are. We're not going to let you kill our Lois. We're not going to let you kill. Black people, I have people that I care about that are drug addicts that I love. Every race, it's not a compliment to say that people don't care about their lowest. To me, it's not. That shows you that have no humility. If you have humility, you care about your lowest. Learn that from Gandhi and Mother Teresa. Those are people that mean something. You care about your lowest. That's what makes you a hero, a human being.
Riots and protests pretending this was some upstanding citizen in the black community who was tackled down and killed for no reason, right? Not only are we allowing it to inspire riots in which black people are dying, in which actual upstanding black citizens are dying. Case in point, I'm sure you guys have all now seen David, the sheriff that just was shot and killed because he was trying to protect a pawn shop. Please look him up if you haven't seen it. I'm blanking on his last name. His first name is David, who was shot and killed for trying to protect a pawn shop from looters. An upstanding citizen, an actual head of a police. He was the head of a police his entire life, 77 years old, did everything right? So we now have to kill upstanding black citizens because a non-upstanding black citizen, a career black criminal, died. Now, did he deserve to die in that manner? No.
It's not about a career. It's not about a career black criminal dying and we're trying to make him an upstanding citizen. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to bring attention to the fact that you can't mistreat black people. We're not taking it anymore. We're not taking the racism anymore. We've dealt with it for so long. A lot of our people are criminals because we've been dealing with racism so long. We've allowed it for so long. And so it just bubbles over. It's every day. Every day you go to work and then you're treated like you're scum. You could be just as qualified or even more qualified than the person that is supposed to be your boss or your manager. But because you're not white and you don't have the privilege, I don't know why they call it privilege. It's not privilege. It's hate. They have disdain for us. They don't want us, even if we are qualified, to be higher than them. They won't hire us to be higher. They won't hire us in higher positions. It's about standing for equality, and what's right is right. That was wrong. Now, had Floyd been, something happened and Floyd was killed during a violent altercation, nobody's going to be defending that. He was handcuffed. That's what that was about. He wasn't being violent at the time. There was no reason for him to have been killed. That was just an officer who felt like he wanted to be God that day and felt that Floyd needed to not live another day. He took it upon himself. Like they used to. Like they did when they went and got the slaves. They said, oh, they weren't doing nothing. Well, we didn't think y'all were doing anything, so we just loaded a bunch of boats and brought y'all here. Y'all could work for us. They can't put value on that man's life. But that's what they've been doing every single day. They put value on black people's lives. Your lives don't mean as much as ours do. That's the Black Lives Matter movement. His life mattered. And now we see it matter. Because even in all his mess, and even with his life the way it was, even if he was on drugs, he's still making a difference because he died and he was killed and he was targeted and he was lynched. And it wasn't right. And America saw it. We felt it. The whole world saw it and felt it. And we made a difference. The officers have been charged. And this is the first time in history that they're moving this fast. This is progress. He deserved to be honored. I don't know what made him special. I don't know what made him special. But he deserves to be honored. Because God must have felt him worthy. Because he made a difference and we know his name and we're talking about him now. He made a difference. But I don't get what makes people busters is that they don't understand that a man who is black was killed because he was black. He was lynched. People saw it. They stood up for the right to live. They stood up for black lives, made a difference, and they saw something wrong and they called it out. No, but people want to call out his life, but they're not calling out the injustices. Call out injustice. Don't talk about his life like he was a dog and don't do that. Like, just let's talk about what's wrong with society today. Why we don't have the value of the quality of life that we should have.